So hi, welcome to my kitchen. And
Hi.
I've got a special guest today, a really good friend of mine, Amanda Bankert, who is the owner of Boneshaker Donuts here in Paris. And she's written this wonderful book called Voilà Vegan. And it's about vegan baking and cooking. And I wrote a chocolate book, The Great Book of Chocolate. And it's a book of all my favorite chocolate recipes, the most delicious chocolate recipes in my repertoire in this book. There are over 50 recipes. And I couldn't do the book without mentioning Amanda. When I wrote my book, The Great Book of Chocolate, I thought, well, you know, a lot of times people make marshmallows and they're concerned about egg whites and so forth. I was like, well, it's a great chance to do something vegan. And I decided that in the book that vegan marshmallows had a place.
Well, thank you.
Because also we want our books people to make the recipes. So
Absolutely. And you made them chocolate in your book, so which is cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
And also you are living proof that vegans are fun. Because she's one of the most fun people I know in Paris. She's a lot of fun. So the first step in making these marshmallows is it begins with chickpea liquid. But before we do that, we're going to prepare the pan. And what I did was prepare this baking pan, 8-inch or 20-centimeter baking pan with some nonstick spray. And we're going to sift together half and half cocoa powder and cornstarch. You don't have to sift, but you want to get rid of the lumps. So go ahead.
All right, so we're going to dump this in there. Da, da, da.
And cocoa powder has a way of flying around.
It really, I was exactly thinking the same thing. That's all right.
So what we want to do is to prepare the pan, sift this into the pan.
And we're doing this just so everything, the marshmallows don't stick, essentially. So we have our non-stick spray, and then you add the layer of the cocoa powder, and that's going to give that way your marshmallows, because obviously marshmallows, when you make them, are very sticky. So this way everything will come out nicely, and you won't be fighting it at the end.
We've got the aquafaba in there, which is chickpea liquid. And we're going to add to this some cream of tartar. And some xanthan gum. And what does xanthan gum do?
It helps. So these are both thickeners and stabilizers. So these are just going to stabilize and strengthen our non-egg whites.
When I used to bake and present recipes, people are like, well, I don't eat gelatin, which are important in marshmallows. So vegan marshmallows, that's another problem that they solve, is people who don't eat gelatin can eat vegan marshmallows.
They can eat vegan marshmallows until the vegan cows come home.
And then a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar.
There we go. And I think that's it before we start whisking these up, right?
So let's go ahead and put those in the mixer.
And then that's going to whip up pretty quick. And you can see it foams like egg whites right off the bat, which is quite cool.
So it's amazing how it starts off being nothing.
Right.
And then it gets really high.
Yeah.
You really need to let it go for 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, which is great because, as we'll show, it gives you time to make your syrup and to bring your syrup up to temperature. So when you're doing this at home, you can kind of put this on, forget about it, go do whatever you need to do.
And what do you do with marshmallows at the donut shop?
So we do a bunch of different recipes with marshmallows. So I'm a marshmallow fanatic, which was also why one of the reasons I was like, I want to make a vegan version.
And that was one of the reasons I sought you out. I saw one of your donuts on Instagram.
I was going to say, so I know your favorite is the fluffer nutter that we do. So it's marshmallow glaze, and then we do a peanut brittle and then a peanut butter pastry cream in the middle.
Okay, those are all of my favorite things in one donut. All right. So let's let this go for 10 minutes. We'll go ahead and make the syrup.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add the sugar to make the syrup. And then add water, corn syrup. And that helps make the marshmallows chewy and delicious.
Exactly. That
so it's just a little bit.
Yeah, just a tiny bit, but it gives them that sort of signature marshmallow taste.
We're going to stir this together, and we're going to add the
agar-agar.
Agar-agar, which is seaweed.
It is, and it's our vegan alternative to gelatin. So in a lot of vegan recipes that you'll see where we need things to be set where you'd use, you know, gelatin in sort of traditional baking, we use our seaweed alternative agar-agar, and it sets beautifully. Keep an eye on it, because if you don't cook it enough, your marshmallows aren't going to set, and if you cook it too much, you're going to just get a hard caramel. So it's one of those where, you know, we need thermometer.
I have one of these instant read thermometers, which are great. A candy thermometer works really well as well. So it's important to remember to keep stirring the bottom as it cooks.
Make sure that it's just really well incorporated. That's the other thing with agar agar is it needs to be heated in order to work. So you can't just dump it in. Yeah, it has to be. That's why it'll always usually say to add it to a caramel or add it to something. It needs to be heated in order to set.
Okay. So you can see it looks like it might be done now. People might say, oh, it's holding a shape, like traditional egg whites would do.
Yes.
But the new tradition is with aquafaba.
That's right.
And we need to wait. We need to have patience. Beautifully, you can see how it's whipped nicely. It's a perfect meringue. You can even taste it because it's not raw egg whites if that's a concern. All right, so this is where people need to have a lot of patience.
Yes.
If you dump it all in, you're going to get a big blob of...
Exactly, of syrup.
Yeah.
So you want to just slowly pour it in. Just pour it in a steady stream. This will also prevent any potential sugar syrup from coming back at you.
You want to get it not on the whip, but between the side of the bowl and the whip.
Yep, exactly. So
it
it's getting fully...
patience
Yes.
and aim.
Yes.
Two things I'm not good at.
Right.
I call these chocolate vegan marshmallows, but you could call them chocolate vanilla vegan marshmallows.
Sure. Yeah, but I agree with you. Vanilla, we just put it in everything.
And this bottle I brought to me with France 24 years ago.
Oh, really?
It's Mexican vanilla from a friend of mine who had a vanilla company.
That smells amazing.
Yeah. It still smells. People are like, oh, you should throw stuff out after a year. I'm like, no. I always want to drink it, but I remember tasting it once when I was a kid.
I know. Unfortunately, it does not taste as good as it smells. It's deceiving.
All right, so we've got this beautiful mixture here. It has that wonderful vanilla flavor and aroma. That's why I would say use real vanilla. It's expensive, vanilla, but it's worth it. And you think about it, a little bottle might cost 20, 25 bucks or dollars or euros or pounds. But
yeah, it lasts ages.
It lasts
and it's
ages.
Really worth it, and you can really, it is one of those things where you can taste the difference.
Yeah. All right, so it's great to have somebody in your kitchen to do this next step.
Yes.
It's folding and sifting. However, if you don't have somebody in your kitchen, these, which is Silpat, silicone mats that people use for baking, it's great because it holds the bowl steady. So it's not perfect.
But it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing.
Yeah.
I'm going to start sifting this in, and she's going to fold the cocoa powder in. When I was testing the recipe, because I'm kind of crazy about recipe testing, as you know, because I sent you samples and had you give me feedback. I was like, should I use half a cup, which is about 45 grams of cocoa powder?
Right.
Or should I use 70, which is 2/3? And I always opt for more
chocolate
flavor.
More is more, darling. Yeah. I think as pastry chefs, we are a bit like that as well. I mean, like we love things that are sort of decadent and, more is more.
Yeah. Nobody wants something that sort of tastes like chocolate.
But that's exactly it.
I always judge a quality of a recipe on how much I don't want to give it away, because when you're doing a book, you have all this food left over. You're baking cookies and cakes and tarts. Certain things I want to hold on to.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm enthusiastically
Okay, we're almost
folding.
there. And this is a bench scraper, it's called, but it's really good for scraping sticky things out of bowls.
Yep.
If you want to be super pro, you can put some non-stick on it and things won't stick.
And I feel like sometimes people think that stuff like this is complicated to
No.
make, and and it's so simple,
It's actually quite foolproof.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not like egg whites where you have to worry, are they going to break?
But that's exactly. This is kind of like, everybody can be so impressed because we're like, I made these marshmallows myself.
Yeah. I'm going to scrape this bowl. French are very frugal.
Yes.
Which is good. I like being frugal. There's a difference between being cheap and frugal.
100%.
And that's the interesting thing about languages. It's like saying to someone, don't be stupid versus don't be silly.
Right. Yeah.
So we're still learning French. Even the French are learning French.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, exactly. I ask my French friends and they'll be like,
I don't know. Yeah. Je sais pas. So this part is the cook's bonus.
Yeah.
And I'm giving it to you.
Thank you. Oh my God, that's really good.
So just a little FAQ on cocoa powders, because it's always a question people have. And you probably use a lot of cocoa powder at your bakery, Boneshaker donuts. It's very popular with French people.
Which is cool.
Yeah,
I know.
French people like donuts too. Why not? So the three types of cocoa powder that we see most often are natural cocoa powder. This is American cocoa powder. It's very hard to get natural cocoa powder in Europe. I've never seen it.
No, and I'm a lot less familiar with that because I've lived over here and I've only cooked professionally over in Europe. So I'm much less familiar with the kind of American.
So natural cocoa powder is quite acidic, and that's
Yep.
why it's used in American desserts that call for baking soda.
Ah, okay. Yes.
This is Dutch processed cocoa powder, and the Dutch process was a process that was invented in Holland,
Yeah.
the Netherlands.
Yes.
It's a way of deacidifying cocoa powder.
Yeah.
The cocoa. So it has a more intense flavor.
Right.
Natural cocoa powder can taste more fruity because it hasn't been treated. Whereas this is darker, you can see the difference.
Yes.
A lot of people say, you know, Hershey's cocoa is not good. Oh, don't use that.
Right.
But it does have a certain nostalgic taste.
100%.
And it's actually, when you make a devil's food cake, this is the flavor.
Yep.
These are American-made cocoa powders. These are from San Francisco, from Guitar Chocolate.
Yep.
And this is a Dutch processed one, and they make a natural one as well.
Oh, nice.
Lastly, this is more of a rarity, and I don't even know if you know about it. It's black cocoa.
I don't, and I was going to ask you about it because I saw the packaging and I was like, I am very intrigued. So tell me everything.
So if you've ever had an Oreo cookie, they're really dark.
Yeah.
And they have a certain chocolate flavor that's a little, it's hard, it's not chocolatey, voluptuous, it's like chocolate and rough.
Yes.
So this is black cocoa powder. And you can see the difference in the color.
Yeah.
Even between the other two.
Yeah. 100%. And is it, oh yeah.
So
is it hard to find?
It's not hard to, well, now with the internet, everything's easy to find, but you can't, I've never found it in Europe.
Okay.
So I buy it in America and I bring it with me. And it's good if you ever want to dial up the chocolate in a chocolate recipe like brownies or a devil's food cake, you can substitute like 10 or 20% black cocoa for another cocoa powder in a recipe.
Okay, yeah.
I don't usually talk about specific brands, but we love the people at King Arthur Baking.
Yes.
Yeah, so every baker has a smile.
Yes, it's so true.
And they came out with a triple cocoa powder blend, which has all three mixed together.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
they're like, you can use this in every recipe.
You're like literally anything. Okay, great.
Thank you, King Arthur, for making our lives easier.
Yes,
the lives of bakers around the world. All right, so we want to make sure to loosen the edges. Okay, then I'm going to flip it over. So one of the things I like about baking with other people is I always learn things. Recipes are not set in stone, I say. Otherwise, cookbooks would be really heavy.
Right.
So I always dip the knife in hot water to cut the marshmallows.
Yeah.
But you have a different technique.
Yeah, I just kind of brush what's the word I'm looking
Sprinkle.
for? Not brush, sprinkle, thank you. The knife with a little bit of the mixture just to help it, like it's going to kind of do the same thing as when we were dusting the pan. Oh, so then here, I'm actually just
And I'm surprised I'm letting you do this because this is my favorite.
Well, and I'm like, pressure's on.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh. Oh. And then we're going to cut those. So here, I'll cut these into, these are going to be.
So you don't have to rinse the blade, because I always rinse the blade when I use water.
If it starts to stick a little bit, then I'll just add a little bit more of that.
Marshmallow mixture.
Marshmallow mixture. Should we do maybe something, do you want to cut these last? Because either these are going to be a lot smaller, or we could go like diagonal.
These are baker's problems.
I know, yeah. Exactly. I'm like, what do we want to do?
Yeah. I'm going to let you, because you're the creative.
I mean, I'm really just winging it. And you yourself will know from experience, this is the worst opportunity, especially when filming, because I'm going to do something and it's going to look terrible. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to be like forever immortalized as like, oh,
the person.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what is she doing? But you know what? This is also sometimes.
Oh, it's like a big piece of pie.
Well,
you can also use scissors too to cut marshmallows.
Oh, yeah. So the last part of the marshmallow making is this is why we had this bowl of our marshmallow mix here, because you're going to want to just toss them in that cornstarch and cocoa powder mixture one last time, because obviously the edges are sticky. And so we're going to do this, and you're going to tap off the excess, and I'm going to eat one too. And look, perfect little marshmallow.
Okay, I'm not going to eat
that. Yeah, eat it, go for it. And these make great gifts as well. Like, this is something actually cool that you can like box these up and give them to
And how long do they keep?
When you put them in oh my God. They are really
good.
Yeah. I'd say, well, you want to put them in a Tupperware lined with some baking paper and make sure they're nicely coated in your mixture. I don't know. I wouldn't do more than probably like, for me, I use things up quickly. So I would say probably like 5 days.
After you've dusted them, I just shake a little bit of the excess off. Then you can put them on a plate.
instead of just like inhaling all of them as
Yeah.
you're.
And these are all different shapes.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna eat.
Yeah, they're so good, right? I said, like, so I've gone.
It's one of the places where using better quality cocoa powder really does make the difference.
Yeah.
In my recipes, I like to give people options because not everybody can get everything.
Yeah.
So in a recipe, when I say Dutch process or preferably Dutch process, there's a reason. I'm not just trying to be...
Right, to be difficult and annoying.
Thank you for putting...
I said you're not being difficult.
Wouldn't be the first time I've been called difficult
you're
or
not.
annoying. So something that's, I guess I would say distinctly American
Yes.
is, even though they call it Swiss Miss in America,
Yeah.
is putting marshmallows in hot chocolate.
The best.
So I made some hot chocolate for us.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I made my recipe, my Parisian hot chocolate recipe with oat milk.
Yum. Yay, thank you.
Yeah, and
That's so nice.
it came out very delicious.
Okay. What's in your Parisian hot chocolate recipe?
It's milk and chocolate.
Yeah.
And people think there's cream in Parisian hot chocolate. I'm like, no.
Right.
Water actually is great, or milk, low-fat milk, regular milk. Just keep adding chocolate.
Right, okay, yeah, the key is chocolate.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and add a marshmallow to each
yeah.
one.
Oh my
I'll let
gosh.
you add your marshmallow.
Fantastic. Oh, that is so good.
Delicious. The marshmallows are great. The hot chocolate
is great.
It's great.
Yeah, it really is. It's so indulgent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers. Yay. Thank you for having me today.
And thank you for inspiring this recipe in my book. I was so thrilled to meet you and to make marshmallows with you here in my kitchen. It's just wonderful knowing you, and you're a bright spot in Paris too. Boneshaker Donuts, no matter how gray it is or what the season, having a donut and going to the shop, everyone's happy, and it's just a wonderful place.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
So thank you for making Paris more delicious.